I don't even see that option. I just have it on gallery, and on gallery, I'm able to like drag myself to the left or the right.
Okay, there it goes. That must be something new. We're live, by the way. So,
Oh,
yeah, now it's working. Now I can see us left and right. I'm
okay,
like,
cool.
like, can everybody just stop changing stuff? That's how I feel. Like, Zoom, can y'all not change stuff? Facebook, don't change stuff. But hello, everybody that's joining in here. As you filter in, just want to say welcome. Go on into the comments and just give me a heads up, like, how you doing? Where you at? And if the audio sounds good, let us know so I don't have to be self-conscious. And I will be doing my best to make sure that I see your comments. And sometimes it's kind of funny and I miss them. But we want you to comment and I do want to see them. So do your best. I'll do my best because we want to, tailor this live stream to speak specifically to what you have going on. All right. So we have an awesome special guest here, which is Brooke Elliott, who's out in the Nashville area, and a pretty cool success story of hitting not just page one, but like last I heard anyhow, spot number two on Google, which is pretty significant. And we'll talk about why that's so significant. It's actually a lot more significant than just hitting the first page of Google. So Brooke is not just like someone that only hit the first page, but she made a significant leap above just first page to being within the top three. And so I would recommend that you definitely listen to Brooke as we kind of get her introduced and she starts to share some interesting things with us. And be sure to ask questions because the more that you ask questions, the more that you're going to get out of this live stream. So, with that being said, um, Brooke, how are you doing today? Besides, I mean, you got this foot. There's like a foot in the side of your frame, and it's a little bitty foot. And oh, there's a whole baby attached to the foot. So I'm like, this is awesome because I think, parents like kids should be involved. So I'm so glad that you brought your little one here. And of course, the baby plays into your story. So if you would just kind of introduce yourself to everybody and maybe talk a little bit about like your journey and just all the stuff.
So my name is Brooke. I'm in Nashville. My daughter Quincy is right next to me. Whenever Jeff reached out to ask if I wanted to do this, I was like, well, my husband will not be here, so he cannot take her like upstairs. So if you're cool with me like having to handle her at the same time, then I'm all for it. So she just woke up, she just ate. Hopefully we're good for a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I became a photographer back in 2021. Yeah, 2021 was when I started like learning manual mode and all that. I mean, that's only 3 years ago. So um going from that just 3 years ago to now, I mean, booking a $6,300 wedding is completely, I never thought that would happen. I remember when I charged, my first wedding was $1,000 and I actually gave it to them for 800 because I did an engagement session and they paid me 200. So I took that out of the thousand. So I did my first
Nice.
wedding for $800 in 2022 because that's when I booked it. So I mean, that was only 2 years ago. So things have definitely changed since then. Just, you know, I mean, I had a full-time job up until May of 2023. So I was doing photography and my full-time job for, I mean, basically 3 years. And so it's exhausting. So I understand the grind of that and wanting to get to the point where you can go full-time. And so I was able to go full-time. And then as I moved to Nashville just a year ago, I was like, okay, you Google me. I'm like literally nowhere to be seen. I mean, I was like tapping page after page. Like I was on page 25 and then I finally gave up. I was like, okay, I'm nowhere to be seen. So then I came across your stuff. And I mean, of course, I'm skeptical. I'm like, I
Yeah.
mean, really though, like, does it actually work? I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of money, whatever. So I ended up, we got on the phone and I was taken aback because you were on the phone. We were on the consult call for 2 hours. Like I mean, we talked forever. It felt like I got off the phone and I was like sweating because it was such like a big phone call. Um, and so, I mean, the investment of it's kind of scary. I get that, but I also, my husband and I, we were like, okay, it's worth it. Like it's going to be worth it. It's going to pay for itself so fast if we just do it and if I go for it. And so, I mean, at this point, like, I mean, I had good bookings, but my bank account was super low. So I couldn't just like flat out pay for it. We ended up using personal money, and ever since I've started booking, I've just paid all that back to my person. So I just paid it personally, and I reimbursed myself for it. So it's paid for itself so fast. I think I started like February or March. I can't remember when I started, but I started February or March, and then I remember like our midterm call. I remember I was on the phone and I was like tearing up. I don't know if you remember that, but I was tearing up and I was like, I just don't know. It's not working. Nothing's happening. I'm doing this for hours a day. I'm trying so hard. At that point, I'm like super pregnant. I'm like so close to having her. Yeah, I know. So close to having her, and then like out of nowhere, I went from, like, when you look at rankings, it goes like not applicable. I went from
Yeah.
that to 40. And so that blew my mind. And then, I mean, several weeks later, I ended up like at 7, 8, 9. That's kind of where I landed. And I had her, and then from having her up until now, I had her mid-May up until now. I just somehow ended up at number two and number three. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth, but I've been at number two for a few weeks now. So even as I was on maternity leave, not touching anything, I did not touch anything. I didn't get on any calls for like, I mean, well, since she was born, I haven't done anything since then. So, I mean, since May 20th, I haven't touched it, and I've continued to rank
Continue to rank.
higher. And so yeah, it works. It's pretty cool. It's been fun
Yeah.
to do
Yep.
that. Yeah.
And you got a, what was it, 60? How much did you get this booking for?
6,300. That's the biggest
6,300.
package I've had. I've gotten several at 50. My highest package was 5,200. And I
Okay.
just kind of restructured, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go 6,300, and they bit. They took it, and I'm so excited.
That is awesome. So what was your next highest booking prior to ranking on Google? And then
Mhm.
obviously your website converting better, like
Yeah.
setting you up. Like what was your next
Yeah.
highest paying customer before that?
45.
Okay.
4,500. 4,500.
So
Well, I restructured, so it's been 4,500 for the last year. That's kind of been like my median package. Everyone goes for, like, the 8 hours, the second shoot of the engagement session, like the basic of the basic package. And then like my biggest package was 5,200, and then so I just redid a bunch of stuff, and now my lowest is 47, and then I go 47, 55, 62, 63, I think.
okay.
But yeah, so I mean, at that point, the goal is for them to book that middle package. Like, you kind of want to, like, it's like you want the high package, of course, but like the goal is like, okay, you kind of set them up with that lower package, and then they want to be like in the middle, because they kind of want to be like psychologically, it's like, okay, I don't necessarily have to get the best, but I don't want to be the worst either. Like, I want to get
Right.
that middle one. So that was kind of, I expected them. They were gonna book that one, and then they messaged me and they're like, hey, let's go big. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
do it.
So just make sure I heard that correctly, which is awesome, by the way. It's very exciting
Yeah.
when you have, I don't know what that is. If you go from like 45 to that, I mean, what is that? It's 10% would be a 400. I mean, what is that? That's like almost a 50% increase, right? Somebody that's good at math on the
Give me a
fly, you let me know.
calculator. I went
Yeah.
6,300 minus 4,500, 1,800
So $1,800.
difference.
So,
Whatever percentage that
uh,
is, I don't know.
60, and it's because of 63. Yeah, I think that's I don't know, somebody that's good at math, let us know, 30% or something, a pretty significant increase. And
Yeah.
what do you think allowed that all to happen? Like because we've got people watching, I think would like to charge more. And so, what all do you think allowed you to raise your prices again, whatever the math checks out to,
Yeah.
30%, I mean, an extra $1,800
Yeah.
suddenly.
Yeah.
Uh, Walk us through that for everybody listening to gain some insight on so they can do
Yeah.
the thing.
I feel like part of it, so of course it's like every wedding is so special, but it's like I felt like I was, earlier on, of course, I was booking anything that I could get. You want to
Mhm.
pay me, I'll take it at the Orange Barn in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
My current style ideal is like more, it's modern, it's not rustic, it's elegant, it's higher end, but not luxury. I don't know if I even want to be, oh, okay, here's my dog.
Hey, also got the dog.
I'm not shooting luxury weddings. I'm not shooting weddings with $50,000 florals.
Right.
But I'm now shooting weddings that people do care about the details, and not that weddings are just all about that, but that's where I get my inspiration from.
Sure.
I struggle shooting the really rustic barn ones because I just don't find inspiration in that. But I have other friends who that's like their thing, and I'm like, you go, abs, that's all you, and they do not want anything to do with what I do. And I think a lot of that, I hate to say, just like posting on Instagram and stuff, but I feel like you have to showcase what you want to shoot. So I
Mhm.
mean, I still shoot plenty of like my barn wedding girls, and that's great, but I'm posting stuff that is on the higher end of things. I'm posting things from venues that I want to go back to, venues of places that I'm like, "Ooh, okay, I would love to shoot somewhere like this more, so I'm gonna post this more often." And so like on my website, I very much hone in on, the higher end detail photos
Mhm.
that I have, the big grand things that I have. And so I think that at least whenever brides are looking around, they find my website or my Instagram, they're not looking at it and seeing like, "Oh, okay, she shoots like barn weddings, glass chapel weddings, big like plantation home weddings, but also like families and newborns. Like it's not all scattered and stuff.
Mhm.
Because I'll shoot those things, but I definitely believe like niching down is important. Um,
Sure. I agree. Yeah.
and like I love shooting other stuff, but like I was just talking to a friend the other day, and I told her I was like, I really think like one of the reasons why sometimes like we don't get who we want is because when they come and look at our Instagram versus someone else's, ours is showing, okay, there's a baby, there's a family, there's a wedding, there's a another wedding, oh, there's a senior in high school. And so it's just kind of all scattered. But like if you want to shoot higher end weddings, those couples are looking for people that are like they have perfected the wedding industry, and
Right,
whether you
right.
have it perfected or not, you need to let them think that or let them
Well,
see that.
this is like super relevant because I know for us, like, when Michelle and I started shooting, we our first wedding we shot was indeed a barn wedding, right? And
Yeah.
y'all out west will never know the pain of shooting a barn wedding, probably, right? I don't know. Do they have barns out west? I'm sure they do somewhere. Like Texas, you got to have it. But I'm saying, like,
It's
if
the
you're out,
orange barns that I can't.
yeah, yeah, those are, well, yeah, the one that we our first one was definitely very dark, and I had
Yep.
just so happened to had already learned off-camera flash, which I don't ever use off-camera flash, and that's a whole nother story unless I absolutely have to. There's a whole reason why. I've talked to too many people, they think, oh, I gotta know off-camera flash before I can charge better prices. And I'm not mocking anybody, but I'm just saying, a lot of our highest paying customers, it's so funny that the things we don't have to do are like, we don't need to take macro shots. We can if we want to, but that was one thing early on. I'm like, I have to, get published. I have to shoot, I got to have a macro lens and shoot macro shots. And, I got to learn off camera flash and all this stuff. And so when we first started, we were hustling, and, we'd get, first wedding was a barn wedding for $1,200, which we were kind of thrilled about.
Yeah.
Um, then once we kind of learned the value, it was a number of things: copywriting, branding, messaging, curation, which is kind of what you're hitting on here, Brooke, is like the value of saying, okay, when I go into a wedding, I'm going to aim to take the most expensive looking photos that I can,
Hmm.
right? Like being intentional about how you photograph so that it is perfectly curated as best as you can to match your target clients.
Hmm.
And when we started doing that, I mean, we had pretty much like we had like three, for all intents and purposes, budget weddings. And
Hmm.
yet we booked within our first year a $7,500 client.
Hmm.
And, that the stuff that set us up for that was obviously like the website converting, right? Like your website's got to do the converting stuff. Unless you're just completely leaning on Instagram, then I mean, there's people that book
Hmm.
and still run a business by booking on Instagram. I think it's harder today and it's only going to get harder.
Hmm.
But, your website's your home base. And so for us, it was like when we started learning those secrets to not just ranking on Google, right? That it's good to rank on Google. It's great. It can be powerful. But if you're really trying to dial in the quality of client, kind of like what you're talking about, your copywriting, branding, messaging, and then also we found curation, which thankfully Michelle is really good at. If it was just me, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it as quickly as we it's so she had the eye. So I'm like
Yeah.
so thankful for my wife.
Yeah.
So if she's listening, there you go, baby. There's your hat tip. Um, so, hearing you say that, like, I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, you can rank on Google and still not necessarily get the type of prices you want to
Hmm.
charge. You cannot get even the types of clients you want. Um, and I've seen people come to and say, "Hey, Jeff, I know you help people, and it seems like they have a high level of success, but I'm already on the first page of Google. So can you actually help me?" And I mean, we've seen people basically like go from we had one person in particular is doing like 40,000 a year that
Mm.
now she does 240,000 a year. Last I spoke with her, which has been, I don't know, probably close to 8 months ago. So who knows how much she's doing now. And that was actually a family photographer.
Mm.
So, which is crazy to think because I always thought if you're a family photographer, if you're really lucky, you'll make 50,000 a year. And that was my ignorance. Okay, that was my ignorance. So who out of everybody watching, who's our family photographers in here? Go into the comments, let us know. And same for wedding photographers. You all let us know, what are you shooting primarily? And it can be anything, boudoir, I don't know, sports, seniors, whatever you're shooting. Just let us know in the comments. Because we'll as we give it some advice, we want to kind of tailor it. And
Mhm.
so and just to kind of give a preview, guys, like one of the things we'll do towards the end is I'm also going to talk to Brooke a little bit about what I think she could do from here to even maximize her business more. Right. So this is kind of one of the fun things we do is when we have a dream client member that is willing to, be crazy enough to jump on this Zoom with me and, kind of do a spotlight. I always say, hey, where were you? What was the journey to where you're at now? And then like, what's next? And so make sure if you're tuning in, the what's next thing is super cool. You're going to kind of see really almost like a preview of the stuff that we do inside of Dream Clients, right? So you definitely want to make sure you stick around for that. And then also at the end, I'm going to give you guys some stuff for next steps if you're wanting to go deeper. And I've got some, excuse me, some free resources for you guys, as well as we'll share like the wait list link that gives a preview of dream clients. And so if you're watching, just trying, or you just joined in, you're like, what are we doing? We're talking to Brooke, who is a dream client member that was not on Google, right? Like page 25 of Google, which is like, I don't know, spot 250 maybe, who's made it as high now as spot number 2. And I bet you she'll become spot number 1. And I bet you she won't even really have to do any more work to get there. But we're going to be looking at that stuff here in a little bit. I see Kayla was doing boudoir. Good. We got a boudoir photographer with us. If you're a boudoir photographer, you're doing that, like maybe you're doing weddings in boudoir, man, SEO is a huge opportunity. So anyhow, back to you, Brooke, in terms of, you know, what you're saying is sounds like being able to curate your portfolio, even if you're not shooting the most high end stuff, always pick the stuff that's closest to where you want to be and then stair step up to that point. But
Yeah.
what else? What else do you think has kind of enabled you to start, dialing in your business to making, more money, which is cool. Like, but
Mhm.
also, I would even argue probably dialing in the quality, the types of people even that you really want to be working with. So what else?
This is gonna sound like I'm being a suck up, but I feel like my website is beautiful. I hired a professional to do my website and it's stunning. I love looking at it. I've had other people who say they love looking at it, but as I went through the program, there were so many things that I had to change, not because it was ugly or because of anything, but because of the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I truly think that now, because before I had all my pricing on there, because I get annoyed when I even go and look and I don't even see a starting price. That drives me nuts because now I have to inquire. So that's the thing. That's one of my things. Like I had to at least have a starting price on there. So I have a starting price on there. Um, but I cannot even begin to tell you all the things that I switched around, some of like the psychology about like website and certain things that are on there and putting this there, don't put that there, put this like one section lower, like all of that stuff. I really I think that that has helped a lot because it's converting to leads because
Mm-hmm.
one thing that you get when you're in the program is there's this thing called full story, and you literally get to like it screen records as people are on your website, And so
Yeah.
you can do a meeting each week and you can find your dopamine dead spot. Oh, she's rolling over. Let me help. She's really good at it, but she's running into something. And I think that that really helped because it's finding the spot on your website where people are like, okay, it's pretty. All right, I'm out. And so there were so many people that were heading out before they even got to the part where it said, okay, go to my weddings page. Okay, here's the inquiry form. It's like, I don't even know what it was because it's not like it was ugly, but for some reason there was something that had to be taken out and swapped with something else. That ended up being where my XYZ statement was. And y'all know what that is later on if you join the program.
Yeah.
But I did that, and that has changed a lot. Like saying who I'm shooting for, why I'm shooting. I feel like honestly, just kind of like letting people know more about my identity, I guess, and my brand. And
Mhm.
I've even started, and this isn't even anything to do with this, but I feel like I've started really incorporating like my family into reels and stuff. And I've gotten so many people that have inquired. And when I say what drew you to follow to reach out, I've gotten so many people that said, I saw your dog and we have the same one, and then I loved your work, and like it's like
Yeah.
all these like tiny little, like, I love that you're a mom, or I love how much you
Yeah.
love your husband. Like they see that, and they don't see me as just an entrepreneur. They see me as a wife, a mom, a friend, a photographer, kind of like last. And then they like all my stuff. So they like the people that end up booking me. A lot of times they like me, and then they like my stuff. They like my
Sure.
work. And so
Sure.
I feel like a lot of it has to do with the flow of my website that led to the inquiries, but then also just being very upfront with just who I am as a person. I'm not trying to I mean, I'm sitting here on in my tiny little townhouse. Like, I'm not like in a big mansion because I'm shooting these really fancy weddings. Like, I'm just chilling here in pajama pants, like I'm
Right.
normal. I just like to shoot really pretty things. And so I think that's something that a lot of people really like, is whenever you're real on social media. Because
Yeah.
I'm not good at marketing, in my opinion. I don't think I really am. I don't do ads or anything like that, but whatever I'm doing right now is working enough.
Yes. Well, and that's encouraging, I think,
Yeah.
for everybody, because a lot of times, I get to hear about what everybody's going through. And often what we hear is, well, I'm just not that technical savvy. SEO is intimidating, like, I mean, and you guys, as you watch this, let me know in the comments, like, what's your excuse, right? In the marketing world, we would call this an internal objection, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's something that you feel like maybe you're deficient in, and therefore you can't reach what you would consider success. And again, that's going to be different for everybody. Some people here may say, well, Jeff, I want to make $300,000. And then others are saying, you know what, I just want to shoot at least 10 weddings a year or whatever. Everybody should be defining your level of success based on what you want it to be. And I would put that in the comments. Like, let us know, what does success mean to you? And I recommend getting it out there, because you'd be surprised how many people, they tell me what their idea of success is, and they go like this. Their posture, they say, I want X, and they go like this. It's almost like they feel guilty, insecure. And I can tell you, one of the big things that has, time and time again, I've seen make people successful, is when someone else hears their goal and then validates them with an actual meaningful reason. And so if you're not speaking what success is to you, and if you're not around people that are therefore like kind of hearing it and then giving you positive feedback, and that may be critical sometime, right? Critical feedback is still positive as long as that person cares about you. And so you're in a group here, with people that will support you. And so if you're not in that place where you're speaking out, you know, boldly, even if it is with shrugged shoulders, head down stuff, that kind of posture, you got to start. You really should start, because I've seen that be sort of a defining moment for so many people. So, and by the way, Adina just let us know it's a 28.25% increase, she says. So there we go. There we go. And of course,
I never would have figured that out.
well, I did the math, and I'm like, but it's tough for me to do the math on the fly. But, and again, for the ones joining in, Brooke ranked number 2 on Google, right? And she'll kind of hang out, different keywords you get different spots for, but you kind of hanging out in that top 3 or so. I think I checked, and there's a few keywords that are maybe four-ish or so.
Mhm.
Um, but that has been pretty transformational and enabled you to book your highest paying client. But it wasn't just that.
Mhm.
It's the curation. It's the like you already had the pretty website, right? It
Mhm.
was gorgeous,
Yeah.
but it wasn't converting the way that
Yeah.
you want. So that mixture of, hey, we're doing conversion optimization from this, like, how do we really connect with the target people you want to connect with, and doing it based on data, not just what feels good. And then
Mhm.
like, okay, we're doing that. And at the same time, it's causing us to superpower our SEO. Now, one of the things I did want to ask you about a little bit is like, what would be like a good example that you feel like a concrete, hey, this thing helped you to really start to sort of magnetize your ideal people on your website specifically?
What? Can you hear her really bad? Is she like being
No,
really loud?
no, I hear
Okay.
a couple little coos, but it's totally
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're all good.
Okay. Repeat that one more time. I was just like,
Yeah.
I feel like she's being really loud. So I just needed to see
That
if
is
I needed.
called, and I mean this in the best way because it's a good thing. That's called mom brain. Okay. I
Yeah,
don't know, you're a new mom. You've probably gotten familiar with that.
I have.
Um, I've got dad brain at times. My one of my daughters came in and was trying to, I don't know, she held up a walkie-talkie and was like, and I'm like, can't focus.
You're like, go. I
Yeah, like
can't.
come on, like just give me a minute, like um but anyhow, yeah. I'm basically asking like what's a concrete example of something on your website that you feel like really enabled you to start sort of magnetizing your ideal clients?
Hmm. Okay, let me think. Definitely not blogging, not blogs. Um,
That didn't do it for you?
no, no chance. I haven't blogged in months, maybe even over a year.
Wait a
Um,
second, because there's some new
I
people.
know.
There's some new people, our long timers, Adina's in here, so she knows. Catherine's in here, so she knows. There's a few of us know here, but you know, so you're telling me you didn't constantly blog in order to rank, number two on Google for a major US city?
Nope. I know.
Huh.
I had a second shooter with me this last weekend. We were talking about SEO, and I like really hyped this up. So I'm hoping she goes for it. But she said, I'm so tired of blogging. And I was like, girl, I don't blog ever. And she was mind blown. She could not believe it. So yeah, no, not my blog. My blog is probably the least effective part of my website.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't know. I honestly think a lot of when I've talked to people afterward, kind of like how I've mentioned, a lot of people, they like how I incorporate my family and stuff on my Instagram. I get a lot as I'm on the phone with people that they really enjoyed seeing my about me page. I never would have
Mm.
thought that, but
Yeah.
people, they love, like, they're able to relate to me. The
Hmm.
people that inquire can, because I'm sure people come and then some are like, ah, she's not my girl, and that's fine. But I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people, they get to my about me page, and when they inquire, a lot of the times in that question, they're talking about stuff that they learned about me on the website. Like they love my work and all that stuff, but they'll like throw in like a little something. And so something that I love so much is that I'm a Christian, and so I found a lot of value in posting about Jesus on my Instagram, and he's on my website. And I've had several people who inquire, and um they've put on there like, I love how open you are about your faith, like I am too. And it's kind of, I don't really know that many artists in the artist world that are like that, and so that's something
Right.
that stands out. And so a lot of times I'll get other believers as couples of mine because we connect on that too. So
Sure.
um so I really do think like my about me page is huge. But
Yeah.
my XYZ statement, I think, is also really helpful because it calls out specific people, you
Yep.
know. Let
Yes.
me quote it exactly, because I'll
Okay.
totally look it up. As
Love it.
it's creating joyful and elegant imagery for excited couples who treasure the meaning of marriage. So
Yeah.
I just want to just shoot weddings, because I want to shoot weddings for couples who are gonna be married and treasure it. And it's not just about the wedding, it's about like two joining as one and doing life together forever, you
Right.
know. So that's what I want. I don't want to just shoot the prettiest wedding for a couple that like low-key kind of hates each other, you know.
Sure.
So I think that draws in a lot of people too, because I mean, I want excited couples. I don't want dull, boring. I've had some inquiries before where I'm like, I don't feel like you're excited at all, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and Ipes was saying great insight about the about page, and just to speak to that, the about page can be a major game changer if you've switched to an identity slash connection based
yeah.
pathway away from the typical portfolio pricing type pathway. And so like another thing that I think is super interesting is, like for those people that are using Instagram, one of the sort of unexpected benefits that people often get when they start doing this type of stuff, and and especially obviously our dream client people, is like they start being like, I'm getting more inquiries from Instagram all of a sudden, and they're more quality, and or whatever, it can even be ads, and vice versa. We've had some people that they're like, I already learned ads and I'm doing Google and seeing results, but I'm also going to do ads as well because I'm
Yeah.
curious, because I already know. And then we had actually one person that she had done ads before and didn't really have any success with it. She spent like $500, and like this was in a 30-day window. She spent $500 and booked like uh 5 weddings at an average of five, or maybe it was 4 weddings at an average of 5,000, I think it was, and made $20,000
Mm,
off of a $500 ad spend.
yeah.
If you don't know ratios real well, that's like a
It's a lot.
massive return on ad spend. And again, the big difference there was the conversion stuff where they're connecting, which builds that trust. So, seeing that you really grasped that, like
Mhm.
that if I can get people to connect, because I'm sort of in their world, like I'm speaking things that communicate the DNA of who they are and who I am, and they're making these connections, like you'll start seeing people spend way longer on your website
Mhm.
because they're connecting and they want to go to your about page. And I was looking at your analytics, and I noticed that you had like you have a lot of your inquiries will go to, looks like the about Brooke, but then I also see with the connect with Brooke. So I was kind of curious to ask you, what's the difference between those two pages?
Oh, connect with Brooke. That's literally my inquiry page.
Okay, okay, so that
So that
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
That I'm
Yeah.
seeing, yeah, about page, experience page. You got a lot of people going there, and
Yeah.
you know, it's not, the secret, guys, is not just to have an experience page and about page. They
Mhm.
actually got to convert, because you can have them. And if you're thinking, well, I just got to have that page and throw whatever on it, I don't know, Brooke. You think that would work if they just
No,
have one and throw whatever on it?
I'm pretty sure I think I redid the entirety of my About Me page.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure I'm pretty sure I changed literally everything. I can't, I mean, it was months ago, so I don't remember what I did, but I remember working really hard on that page. It was the homepage, wedding page, and About Me page that I had a lot of work to do.
yeah,
And again, it was gorgeous, but it's like I had to, there were so many, there were just things that I had to add in, some things that were completely unnecessary. So I just completely took it out. And so, I mean, it was stuff that like is so well thought out on my website, but it's like it's hidden because it's like distracting or something, even though I think artistically it's really pretty. But
right,
um,
right.
in order to get people, you take things out, you put things in, you see how much longer they stay, and then when they stay longer, you just leave it. And so that's kind of what it is. So yeah, that's very real. And I mean, yeah, because honestly, I feel like the only marketing I even do is on Instagram. I could tell if I need to learn that. That's like my next thing I need to kind of learn is some more intense marketing because
Yeah.
I don't
Well, and
really
like
do
I'll
much
give
there.
you a little preview, and I'll tell you, because we were supposed to be saving this to the end, and we'll see how long we actually end up going here. But
Okay.
one thing that I think you're going to keep moving up on Google, and you've got plenty of traffic that you're probably not going to need, as long as your conversion rate is good enough, right? You're probably not even going to need those other sources. Not that you can't do them. You totally
Yeah.
can do Instagram and whatever you want to do. But a lot of times what we find is people don't need to blog, they don't need to do Instagram, they don't need to do ads. Now that doesn't mean you can't do them though, especially if you enjoy it or you feel like,
Right.
it kind of fits into your business plan. So one thing that I always tell people is, really focus, for you at this point, there might be a few things that you could do to dial it in to make sure you kind of solidify your spot number one rankings. I think that for a lot of our dream client members, they'll hit, the top, they'll hit the first page or even like spot number 3, 4, and they're kind of moving around a little bit. And often they don't necessarily need to do a lot more to reach even spot number 1. But a lot of times they kind of like let off the gas pedal just a little bit,
Mhm.
you know? And so one suggestion I try to give to all our dream client members is, don't, and I'm not saying do tons of stuff. My thinking on that. It's not about doing all the things. It's about
Yeah.
figuring so kind of the big little, I should say the big domino that you can work on right now that it could even be minor, but it makes this big, big difference. And for a lot of people that can be, maybe even some more backlinks here and there, right?
Yeah.
We always say you don't need more backlinks than your competition to be able to outrank them. However, backlinks are never a bad thing. And then a side note would be, for you, I would consider if you're going to do Instagram, I would almost consider looking into doing, if you did want to put a little bit more fuel on the fire. The cool thing with Google is like you've got people that are coming to your site and you
Hmm.
can you can use like ads to retarget them. And the cool thing about ads, if you are going to do that, so nobody hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you have to do it, but if you were thinking about throwing some fuel on the fire, then sometimes you can spend very, very little on ads and just ramp it up. And it
Hmm.
can be sort of a holistic approach that just what I found, you can get bookings. Not only can you get more inquiries for a few reasons. One is that they might have already seen you on Google and now they're getting hit
Yeah.
also with Instagram and Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Or, if you're going to do Google ads, like it's like they've already seen you and think you're awesome. And now, like maybe they weren't ready to inquire yet, but now like they're seeing you over and over and over again, often for like very little ad spend. And so you
Yeah.
can kind of like funnel people back into your website and back into inquire when, they might have gotten distracted before and, they were looking at some other people. So it's just an awesome way to capture people often that have already been exposed to you. And the reason that I do like that, if somebody said, "Hey, I still want to do some other stuff," is because, Instagram. Well, you tell me, what's the thing you like least about Instagram?
Ugh. I'm sure we all feel the same way. The fact that you have to do reels to
Yep.
get views. And I've had, I haven't cracked the code at all, but I've done really well with reels in the last like year or so. And I've had a few like I had one get about 2 million views. So like reels do work well for me. I just hate making them.
Yep.
So probably that, like
Yep.
everybody else.
Well, and that's common. And we have people come in
Yeah.
and go, "Oh yeah, I do Instagram and it works,
Yeah.
but I don't want to have to do it." And so
Yeah.
again, that's where, you can kind of let the extra money you're making, also you can spend sometimes a few bucks a day with an
Mm-hmm.
ad because now your website's so high converting that you can just run those to your website and literally spend a few bucks a day and capture even more inquiries. And then you don't really even need to post all the time. I mean, I still say like once like once a month is usually not bad because people might think you've gone out of business. And I say this because we had people thinking that, like
Oh,
we started ranking on Google and I just completely dropped off the face of the earth with all our socials. And people would message me and be like, "Hey, we found you on Google. We like your stuff, but like we went to your socials and looked at your blog, and you haven't done anything for like 2 years. Are you still in business?" And
oops.
if they're saying that, I'm like, how many other people are thinking that?
Yeah.
So, but the cool thing again, like if you have some ads that you run in addition to it, you can really dominate. I mean, and Google likes, and there's even some sort of like co beneficial stuff between sending people back to your website as a visitor,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're using Chrome, because Google is actually tracking that. So, like, if they find you on
Makes
Google
sense.
and then they come back via an ad that now they're checking it out again, Google recognizes that they're a return visitor. And so, again, if you're looking to dominate and push yourself up further onto Google and kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, what should I say, like solidify your rankings,
Yeah.
you can start to do some ad spend, which, you know, not to do a shameless plug here or anything, but Choosy, we've actually got a new AI
Yeah.
ads feature. So if you end up doing that, you should check it out
Okay.
because it makes it super easy to do all that. And of course, it integrates with your SEO and everything. But real quick, because I want to get into a couple other things like Instagram SEO, which is another thing that I think you should look into. Before I say that, though, one thing I'm going to do real briefly is I told you guys there was a couple resources I'm going to share. One of those is I'm going to put into the comments the wait list for dream clients. So this is what Brooke did that got her on the first page of Google pretty quick and allowed her to have her highest paying booking so far, right? And it's not just SEO, it's conversions and copywriting and branding and messaging. And so if you click that link that I just dropped in there for the replay people, I will put it above this, like above the video so you don't have to dig in the comments. Check that out. It'll have some info on it. It'll have a video walkthrough, and you'll be able to actually click the button at the bottom. And if you fill that out, you will get basically on a wait list. And so when we have openings, we go to that wait list and we just kind of start reaching out. Usually it's Michelle, my wife. She'll call, or message. She'll be like, "Hey, we saw that you were interested. What kind of questions did you have?" And so that's an option for people that are like, "Hey, Jeff, I might be interested in that." Now, I've got some other resources that are completely free that I am going to be sharing as we come to a close here in a bit. So again, stick around for that because I want you to get access to those resources as well. But I think another question that I wanted to ask was going to be like, um, for you, what do you feel like is kind of the next stage in your business? Because I know like when you and I first spoke, we went through like what your goals and everything were. And so when we have someone on a Zoom like this, I like to revisit that. Like where are you headed? Like what's kind of like your vision or,
Mhm.
here's where I really want to be in my business.
Yeah. So, well, now that I've got this one, I want to shoot less. And so when we talked, that was, I mean, I was pregnant and I was kind of freaking out because like I want to make more money. I want to shoot less weddings so I can be around more. Because I don't want to be gone every Saturday. Like I want to like take 10 to 15 weddings a year, maybe. I'd love to get to where I could take 10. Um, I mean, my goal is to be able to be home with her, but
Mhm.
also very much bringing in good income for our family. And so
Right.
that's kind of where kind of where I want to be, where I wanted to be 6 months ago. And now that I am staying at home with her and editing here and all of that, I am so thankful because I mean, I can't remember how many weddings of next year were because of Google or Instagram. Instagram and Google are my top two. Um, but ultimately, that's what I want to do. I want to shoot between 10, 15 weddings, and then do sessions and stuff. But my main goal is to be with her. It's not to bring in, $500,000. Like I'm realistic. I'd love to bring in 100 at some point. I'm not there yet, but I would love to maybe bring in about that much if possible. But my main goal is I want to be a mom. So
Yeah.
I want to do both.
Love
So
it.
yeah, but my next challenge though is that we don't know for sure, but there's a chance we could be moving. So
Yeah.
thinking through, I remember when we had a conversation, I was like, okay, my husband's job right now is a 2-year thing for sure. We could stay here after that, or we could be moving. And so that's coming up this summer. So like we could be here, or we could be transitioning somewhere else. And so if we leave, I got to figure out, okay, what keyword, like what am I going to go for next? Like what's the right keyword for where we're going. And I remember you telling me, I don't remember how you said it, but you said that like whenever you rank really high, if you leave a lot of time, if you have to change, a lot of times Google like actually lets you rank pretty high pretty quick because of loyalty or something. I can't remember what you said, but you said it's not as hard as you think it would be if you end up moving and have to rank for somewhere else. It's actually not that hard. So
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be
Well,
my next challenge. I'm trying to think through that.
you've already built up so much authority with Google, right? So like they
Already.
already trust you. So like when you go to rank for another location, Google's kind of already like, well, we liked them over here, so there's a good shot we'll like them over here at this other
Yeah.
place. And so, my big thing is always like, kind of like a strategy, for example, would be for somebody that's going to move, like you don't want to wait to start ranking on that new location, right? I mean, if you know when you're moving, or even if you don't know, you're like, well, it could be 6 months, could be years, it could be 5 days, I don't know. Go ahead and start on it because, like, worst case scenario, you rank and you get inquiries, and then but you just don't take them yet, right? Maybe just
Right.
refer them out. But then the other strategy for some people, they're like, I am working on ranking. Again, like SEO can be one of those things. If you got the secret sauce, it might take you, you know, anywhere from 30 days or less or 90 days. I mean, it can kind of just depends. But if you or don't know what you're doing, it could take even longer. And
Mhm.
so sometimes the strategy will be like, okay, if you're trying to get quick bookings in that new location, because maybe you want to build a portfolio, that's again coming back to something like ads. It's like you can target that specific location and build that portfolio by going ahead and just getting visibility immediately. Because if
Mhm.
your website is already really high converting, the odds it's going to be high converting in that new location is pretty high. So it's like you can replicate what you've already done just for the new location and go ahead and start, spending a couple bucks a day and go ahead and start getting bookings. I mean, maybe as little as in like a week.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the other strategy that we would sometimes recommend is, don't be afraid to, if you need more quick bookings in the new area and you don't have the time to wait on the SEO, there's nothing wrong with ads because again,
Mhm.
get good interaction. If they're on Safari, yeah, it's probably not going to help your SEO too much. But if they're on Chrome, Google's actually learning about your website and watching the
Yeah.
interactions. And if it's good, your ads can actually help boost up your SEO, right? And this is not true if you are not, your website isn't high converting, right? Because like you mentioned, it's not really about how pretty it looks. It's more about have you intentionally crafted it to create
Yeah.
that engagement.
Yeah.
So yeah, and guys, we're kind of coming up here pretty soon on the hour. So like a few things. I am going to be sharing a few resources with you guys again, resources at no cost to you. Um, excuse me. The other thing is I want you to go ahead and drop questions into the chat because if you got questions for Brooke, we want to hear from you. I mean, this is an awesome opportunity to talk to someone that's been there, done that, that's like worked through again 3 years in business, and that she is in like the top three for some really high volume, super valuable keywords. And so this is your opportunity to be like, I should definitely ask some good questions. I'll tell you one of the things that I've learned from mentors is one of the best things you can do is ask the best questions. Okay. And Brooke is she's gonna be right back. She's she's gonna help Quincy out, get the baby situated here, I think. So, drop those questions. I know I was asking about the website. Arlene, thank you so much for providing that. Love that. Thank you. And of course, you can Google search something like Nashville wedding photographer, and you can find her that way as well. And go check out her site. Go click around a lot and check out her about page and the different things. And the one thing I would caution you against is you don't really want to copy anybody. It's never bad to get inspiration from somebody else that's on the first page of Google. But I do caution people against copying someone else for a few reasons. One is, there's a lot of back end things that you may not have the same scenario as the person that you're looking at. Um, you may copy someone directly and yet get wildly different engagement. And that could be bad. I've seen this happen where people go in, they'll say, well, this person's on the first page. So if I copy him, I should be as well. But we've actually seen where people sometimes will copy. And what happens is usually they'll copy stuff that Google may have even changed their mind on. And the person, excuse me, on the first page has kind of been grandfathered in. So like they don't get penalized in any way for some of that grandfathered in algorithm updates. Now, if you're being spammy and stuff, then yeah, if your first page and you've done a bunch of bad Black Hat stuff, you can get penalized. But if it's not Black Hat, there have been times we've seen updates happen where people go to copy something that there's been an update on, and it actually prevents them from ranking even though someone on the first page is doing it, because they're hit with that algorithm update, and the person on the first page of Google has not been, because they've been grandfathered in. And so a good example of this is just like prominence. So prominence is something that we teach our dream clients members, where it's like you got to make sure that you have keyword prominence that really makes it clear exactly what you should be ranking for, what you're about. And this is not just using keywords, it's using them in a balanced manner, in a way that is super clear with Google, so that Google has no doubt that you should be ranking for what you are saying that you should be ranking for. And so that's a really important thing, that get inspiration, but you really got to get to where you can look at your own data, and you really got to get to where you understand, keywords still matter. It's not just about engagement. It is, right? But you can have super high engagement, and yet Google is still confused about what your page is actually about. Okay. So this is where you've got both sides of the coin. You've got, yeah, engagement is incredibly important. You got to have that, especially if you want inquiries. But then you also got to have the SEO stuff, the keywords, the prominence balance type stuff, in order for Google to both think you're awesome and to then clearly know what to rank you for. So, question coming through though, V-Man was saying, what's the top 3 things to do now for new photographers slash website in terms of SEO? So, I don't know, Brooke, you want to take a jab at that one? What do
Oh
you think?
gosh. I don't know. I feel like maybe you should.
You start. You start. I'm
Read
gonna
it.
put you on the spot, and
I've
then
got
I'll say what I think too.
a screamer. Read it one more time.
All right.
I got
So
a lot of it, but
yeah, well, we can. I still hear like teeny backgrounds. Like she's
okay.
totally
Maybe it's just
fine.
I just can't hear anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's probably
Say it
you.
one
It's
time.
probably you. So, by the way, just want to say you ranked on, was it top 3 or whatever, the Friday before you gave birth, right?
Yes. Yes, I
No
did.
fact. Like just
Yes,
so
I
cool
forgot
to
about
me.
that.
Yeah, it was like, man, what great timing, little like
I
pre
know.
labor gift. Like just it was so cool to me that was so
Yeah,
like
such a
perfect
gift.
timing.
Yeah.
Um, so and look, if Brooke can do it, then anybody can do it. And not because Brooke isn't awesome, she is, but uh
We're pushing through. We're good.
yep, yep. So top 3 things to do now for new photographers, um, basically in terms of your SEO.
Okay.
So what would you say? And then I'll give my thoughts too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess kind of figuring out like what the keyword is that you want to go for. And I forget Uber Suggest, I think, is the one
Mhm.
where you can kind of like look and see, okay, this specific keyword, so Nashville wedding photographer gets this much traffic a month or whatever, and how competitive it is. I think figuring that out is huge
Right,
because I
right.
feel like it's easy because like I'm in Tennessee. So like if I want to book Middle Tennessee weddings, I can't just say Tennessee wedding photographer because then what if all my inquiries come from Bristol, Tennessee, basically in Virginia, you know? So I feel
Sure.
like figuring out your keyword and with the course, like learning where it needs to go, how many times it needs to be there. Backlinks, that's like I feel like backlinks is everything. I feel like that's kind of the only thing I can kind of keep doing now. I feel like I've done everything. So like the only thing I have left to do is just continue to get backlinks. And that's just whenever your website is linked on another website. So someone else has you on their website linking to your website. So I mean, I feel like that's like yeah, I feel like those are at least the top 2 things that I would say, I mean, changed the game for me because I don't even remember what like my keyword technically was before I like actually came up with one because I didn't even realize that was like a thing. I didn't know H1, H2, you know what I mean? So I feel like
Right. The
figuring
basic,
that
yeah, the
out,
bare bones basics type stuff.
literally, like truly. I mean, I will say if you do the program when you start it, you feel like you're suffocating because you're like, oh my gosh, what do I? And you actually do figure it out. I promise. I didn't know anything. I was like, what is H1? What is H2? What does that mean? And now I feel like I could go, if you tell me to go fix something, I could just go do it real quick. So it's truly just like starting a new job, starting anything new that you have no clue about. You feel like you're overwhelmed and you're drowning, but you get the hang of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say those things, keywords and where to place those, and then get backlinks.
So how do you think, as someone that like basically knew nothing about SEO, right? And I want to preface with saying, if you're like, well, I already know H1s, and I know, and I've had people say that they're like, well, Jeff's stuff is just basic. We do start from the basics for sure,
You have
but
to.
you got to. And I see
Yeah.
people that know the basics. Oh, I know keywords and backlinks. I know the basics. Um, but then there's nuances that are wrong, right? Like it's like,
Mhm.
people understand keywords, but then they have keyword cannibalization would be one example. Which did you have that? Did you have keyword cannibalization, the
What does that
competing page?
mean?
So remember, like, did you ever have pages that would show up that, weren't the right page? Did you ever have that happen?
I think so. Like you would type in a keyword and it would bring up like your about me page or something.
Right, right.
Yes. Yeah, because I had my keyword as a H1 on like every page rather than just on my homepage.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's super common. And that's just one of the myriad of examples.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just, I'm going to say, yes, I agree. The keyword clarity, backlinks, but again, it's not just generic, getting of backlinks. Actually asked the question, backlinks from anywhere or specifically wedding website backlinks? And the answer to that is it just depends, right? Because some backlinks are spammy. So like I've seen many
Yeah.
people go on, Fiverr or somewhere and just buy backlinks. And all of a sudden their rankings tank. So they're like, well, I did the SEO thing, right? Same with keywords. I've seen people go, well, I did keywords, my rankings are tanking, or I've switched
Mhm.
platforms and my rankings are tanking. I thought show it was supposed to be great, and now I'm tanking. All the generic SEO is both, I think, overwhelming as
Mhm.
well as it doesn't have enough nuance. And so that's where, I add the third thing would be, the engagement, right? So you need to start number one, having you need to have clarity on like, who am I in reference to my ideal client? Okay. So everybody says your client avatar, yeah, you need to know that. But what people often miss is like, but who am I? Who
Mhm.
am I? Right. And so then they struggle with copywriting, and then they don't know how to improve the engagement on website or magnetize their couples to actually inquire. So to put it simply, yeah, I would probably say the top three basic stuff that, you know, generally speaking, would be keyword clarity, backlinks. Okay. Again, though, there's nuance there that we don't have time to go super in depth in. And then number three would be engagement. And those are not in necessarily any particular order. They're all very, very important. And but I agree. I think Brooke hit the nail on the head. Um, let's see. Yeah, and Adina says that was me, keyword cannibalization. Yeah, you'll know you have keyword cannibalization if you use Google Search Console and you
Mhm.
look at a keyword that you're trying to rank for, and it has like 2 or 10 or 50 different pages all attempting to rank for that same
Yeah.
keyword. Like a good example of why that often happens is you've got your file names all with your keyword in it all over the place, because guess what? That's what everybody says to do, right? Put your keyword in all your file names and then put that everywhere. And that's just one thing that really screws it up. And so there's things like that again, you did the keywords like they said, but you didn't get the nuance. Now, question real quick, Brooke, are you okay on time? Maybe 5 more minutes, or how you doing?
Yeah, we're good. She's
Okay,
just
cool.
it's that time of the evening. She's just
I know,
one of
I've
those
got
that's good.
three. They're bigger now, but sometimes
Yeah.
they're pretty. They might
Well,
as well be like, large 6 months old,
right.
babies. Except now they can like move, so they could be way over there and then move this way and
Yeah.
bother me.
Oh yeah,
All that,
most all she can do is roll one direction. So like
and it takes a while.
she can't get
Yeah.
away from me. But what you just said though about the whole like your image titles or whatever, my who I hired who did my website, she has an SEO specialist and I had to change everything that SEO specialist did because every single fit photo on my entire website, hundreds, hundreds of photos had Nashville wedding photographer as the whatever it's called, the title on the photo. Because when you said that, I was like, wait, this SEO she said I was, and I was like, okay. So yeah, even I mean, like truly, other SEO specialists out there are doing that, and that's a huge problem because there were so many things that I had to go change, um, because I guess not that she did it wrong, but that not that that was well, I guess that she did it wrong.
It's pretty wrong. That's pretty wrong.
Yeah. So and like so I truly feel like I don't know. I can't remember the story of how you got all this knowledge, but whatever you've got, it is correct.
Okay.
It is the
That's
correct way.
that's good to hear because again, your
Yeah.
designer did some stuff, and I wouldn't blame her because that she's doing what everybody says to do.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I
Go
don't
go
blame
ahead.
her at all. Like I didn't know anything. So at that point, I remember when I was like, why am I not ranking? Like I had a whole SEO specialist do my SEO and it was all wrong. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yes. Well, that's where, again, there's everybody out there, they're doing the generic stuff. And there's a lot of lies and things that would work in one industry, such as like the constant blogging thing is great if you're an affiliate marketer, but it's terrible for photographers. And
Mhm.
so that's where it's nuance, right? It's nuance. It's not always a direct lie. It's like I've been seeing this where somebody asked ChatGPT, if you were Satan, how would you deceive the world? Like have you seen this? Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
have not. That's hilarious.
I've been seeing it all. It's like a trending thing, and ChatGPT like maps out exactly how you could deceive the world and make them hate each other and stuff. And
Oh
but
my
one of
word,
the
that's
things
so
in that
scary.
is, it's like it's not bold-faced lies.
Yeah.
Like you don't get the devil that comes up with the pitchfork and says, "Let's murder people."
Right.
It's usually like, "Hey, here's a half truth, or here's a 97% truth, or
Right.
99.9% truth." And that minor fraction of a percent can, like I always like the boat example. Like if you're like half a degree off on your
Hmm.
calculations, you're on a boat and you're traveling, hundreds and hundreds of miles, you might end up in another continent,
Right.
right? And so, the difference with what happened to me is I just so happened to, have a friend that worked for Google that was sort of part of the team basically that was being used to sort of train the AI algorithm for Google.
Mhm.
And this was like 2015 and they'd work from home. And so like I would be there and I would hear stuff and be exposed to stuff. And I'm like, and at this time I was already trying to rank on Google. So, I'm like, I'll take anything I can get. Started learning and implementing. And we ranked the first page of Google. I mean, we
Hmm.
started outranking people that had been in the business for like 15 years, and it was just wild how quickly our rankings just catapulted up, and it was life changing because we started in 2015. It was March 15th. Sort of the next big milestone was we booked a $7,500 client in that they inquired like January 26th of 2016. And then so that was our first big booking that like changed my whole life. And then because I was making like my day job, I was making like 25,000 a year,
Yeah.
still in school and all that, but then our next big milestone was, by 2017, we were full time and we hit six figures that year. I think we made $106,000.
Mm.
And our like, from March to December, I think we had made like 6,000.
Yeah.
Shooting 12 to $1,600 weddings, and then
Yeah.
the like up to the next year's one just started to ramp up. I can't remember for sure, but I think maybe up through 2016 we end up making closer to 60. So we like 10x if I remember correctly. And then 2017 was like 106.
Mm.
And again, it was not because I was going and listening to everybody online, free YouTube videos and stuff where it's a massive, like somebody says one thing and then like the other SEO guy goes, "Oh yeah, let's say that too," and it's just a big echo chamber of people saying stuff to just say stuff because they want the attention, right? We've seen this even with people; they'll do a program for SEO, and somebody in some group will say, "Hey, who do you recommend?" And then like somebody will say, "Oh, I recommend this program. It transformed my SEO." And I always like to go in. I don't do this as much now, but I used to go in and I would like use Uber Suggest to see what they were ranking for, and it would be like the name of some statue in their downtown area. And I'm like, sure, they ranked page one, but there's no way that's making them any, if it's making them any more money, which is probably not, it's
Right.
going to be far, far just, it's like, oh, cool, you ranked, but who cares?
Hmm.
And so some people are super focused on progress versus transformation.
Yeah.
We did have the question come through, a few questions come through, and let's see, one was from Savannah Overstreet. Hey Savannah, let us know if you're still here. I'm going to answer it either way, but I know you said you're new here. And then the question was, how important is a website? really don't have the money to invest in a website, and seem to be doing fine with my HoneyBook link in my IG bio. Well, here's the thing. You got to define what success is to you, right? And then you got to reverse engineer it. That's one of the big things with, SEO that I've tried to push is like, let's not just do SEO. Let's figure out what success is and then reverse engineer a plan to get there. If y'all been around a while, you know about my revenue calculator. I'll share that, because you may look at this and be like, I don't know how to use this thing. I want to get a video up to sort of teach you all how to use it. I've shown it in live streams, but this is one of those things that you can input, how much traffic you have for your keywords. And then the standard settings are kind of like, if you're closing pretty good and you're on the first page, but you're maybe like 5, 6, 7, you're not in the top 3. And so that's a good tool to just kind of figure out, do I need more keywords to get more traffic? Do I need, better conversions on my site? Do I need to whatever? It'll actually tell you. And that's why we've helped people that, even new photographers, be able to go from like, you know, basically one booking ever to being able to do even 200,000 in a year, right? True story. So the answer to your question, do you need a website? Well, it kind of depends. Like if you're making the money and the types of clients and you like just using Instagram, like go for it. I'm not anti anything, but I definitely think if you're trying to make substantial income and you don't want to post constantly, then yeah, a website is like a home base. It's not a platform that you're investing into that also invests into your competition directly, because that's Instagram. Your website's your home base. And so in terms of like, okay, well, I don't have the funds. I might say you don't have the funds to not get a website. Now, if your concern is, well, I can't invest in a designer. We did not hire a designer whenever we started. We built our own website. I was paying, not a lot of money. I don't know, it was like $8 a month or something at the time. And with that website, we hit 6 figures. I did not get a designer. And so we didn't pay out 3, 5, 20, whatever $1,000 to get a website. And I've met people that have. The highest, most saddest scenario was somebody had spent 20,000 on a website, and they did kind of like the SEO stuff, Brooke, like you were telling me your designer did. And the expectation was, oh, it'll, get me where I want to be. And it didn't. And then they had $20,000 into it and nothing but like a, okay website to show for it. So, I do recommend that you get one if you're trying to make your business look more professional. If you're trying to make it a solid business, for sure. I've been kind of surveying here lately. We do have, and I'll give you all the link for this. If anybody wants it, you can check it out. We're actually getting ready to basically launch our own templates that are inside of our own software for websites. And these are like SEO ready websites. Now that doesn't mean they're just like, oh, you just plug, well, they are plug and play, but they're going to be as optimized as you possibly can get it. The builder is super easy to use. And again, we're building out those templates based on some of the most top performing websites of the people that we've had go through our program. And so they're going to be out of the box, the best SEO optimized templates on the market. And so if you want to be on the wait list for that, just type in wait list, and I'll shoot the link over to you and you can get on that wait list. It'll ask you some questions. And we're looking at, we're trying to figure out, well, what's the price? I really want to make it as affordable as possible for people because I want everybody that wants to have a thriving business to be able to do so. So if you want that, let me know in the comments and I'll shoot it over to you so that as we begin to release those, you can be among the first to get in on it. And we will have a free trial. Probably I'm aiming for like a 30-day free trial so you can check it out. Because I always say, pick a website builder that you really, really feel is pretty intuitive and or has amazing support. I think Show It's great for SEO. You know, we also have an agency like where we do SEO for people. And I'll tell you, me personally, um, Show It, it has its quirks like every other platform. I think it's great. You know what you're doing. We have a lot of people that rank on it. But I've also had a lot of issues at times, and not everybody does, right? So I'm not putting down Show It at all. But I think if you're going to be looking at a website, you need to try platforms and use the one that you're going to want to log into and use. Okay. It's kind of like going to the grocery store. It's not great if you like get that whim to start a diet and you go buy a bunch of groceries that like you have never really eaten before and you stock your fridge because those sit in there and rot, right? I don't know if anybody else has done that, but I used to do that. And I realized I should probably buy stuff I'm going to eat because at the end of the day, at least I'm not wasting money. Same with your website platform. Go try trials, check it out. And I'm saying that for ours, and I'm saying that also for any platform. You should go out and try, I recommend at least three. Okay. At least three different website platforms. So, that's what I recommend. Let's see. We had some. Are you still, Brooke? If you need to jet, you totally feel free. I mean, I want you to stay if you can, but if you need to jet, we're going longer than I anticipated. And we still got lots of questions coming in, so I'm going to do my best. And I still also, guys, have a free resource I'm going to drop for you here in just a little bit. It's going to be something that you can read through. Okay, it's an ebook. Okay, it's my SEO for photographers in the age of AI. You can get this on Amazon. It's on Amazon. If you want to go purchase it, I think it's like $2.99 or something like that. But if you want it for free, hey, you can get it for free. And so that's going to be dropping here in just a minute. But a couple other questions. Let's see. And if I don't answer your question because I missed it, just remind me. Okay, remind me, and I'll try to get back to it. Um, Marcia asked, what would you recommend as the title for each photo then? Venue location? No, not necessarily. You can. It's not a bad idea to do that, but really it kind of depends on where you're putting the photo. The file name should actually be relevant to the content of that page. So if I had, for instance, in your example with the venue, if I had, let's say I was going to blog a, a wedding that I photographed at a specific venue, then yeah, I would maybe name the photos in a way that involves the name of the venue. A lot of people don't know this, but when you rank on Google, and this is maybe going to be good for Brooke. Okay, I told you all that I was going to try to give Brooke some special insight here to even push her further into the realm of maximum traffic. Another good thing to do is to make sure that you rank for your photographs. So if you come in, let's type in Nashville wedding photographer, right? We're coming in and yeah, some people go, so like here's Brooke, right? Some people are going to click here. Some people are going to go here, which is, another thing, Brooke. Yeah, I know you're moving, so maybe you don't focus on this as much. Maybe it's a new location. You focus on this more so. Another pro tip. But also I would say, make sure that and you might already be, I haven't checked this, but this is another massive opportunity
Uh-huh.
to garner a lot of traffic. And it's cool because you can actually, I don't think you've seen this yet. We're actually getting ready to craft new content around maximizing this. You can actually, just like you use Google Search Console for your rankings or on the like page, like, where you're ranking in the top three, et cetera, you can actually start to do the same thing for your photographs. Because like currently let's see, we'll sort it. We can sort it based on position, for instance. You're doesn't look like to me you're in the top 10 yet for any
Yeah.
of the good, and people use this. People will inquire from this area. A good example, I'll just show you this with ours, for example. If I type Louisville wedding photographer, we show up here and we show up here,
Mm.
right? And then it also gives them example searches. Here's a venue in Louisville. I don't know that I've ever tried to rank for this. I did funny though. Google did reach out to me about an image that we took at this venue, which I thought was hilarious. They wanted to license it and pay us money, and that was kind of cool. So another benefit of showing up here is that you can actually, number one, in no particular order, get paid for your photographs. People will find them, and even sub point, I should say, maybe sub point A here is they may even pay you money to license those photos. I don't know about y'all, but I kind of like passive, extra income. And so that's nice. The other thing that happens though, that's also great is people like even publications will reach out wanting to use your photographs, which is good for your SEO. So we've been published on Martha Stewart Weddings, I don't know, two or three times that I know of. And it was all because the editors were looking for specific photographs. And we, of course, have done our image SEO. and they found our image when they were looking for very specific photographs for features, and then they reach out and they're like, "Hey, can we use this photo?" And of course, they give us a backlink, right? So the images are actually really great for supercharging your SEO for the long run. So again, kind of talking to you a little bit about some other things you could focus on. This would be a great thing to do. So I think the question, though, I think I answered the original question. So I want to make sure we have enough time to get to everybody. Let's see. Abby said, what are backlinks? Backlinks are just basically when someone else links to your website from their website. Okay. That's the basic, what is a backlink? So Heidi says, what should we do instead of tagging all the images with keywords? I don't know if I directly answer that. Again, you can use keywords, but you want to make them specific to the page. Then also a big part of that is alt text. Alt text is a big part of it. What's up, TJ? Glad you could join in. Savannah asks, thank you so much. Who do you recommend as website host? I'm going to be biased here and say Choosy. Choosy is the platform, our software that we're actually building the templates in. So just disclaimer, we are building those out and want them to be absolutely awesome. So they're not released just yet. Now you can get a Choosy account. And if you do that, then, again, you'll already be set up. If you want to check that out, it's just choosy.app is the website. I'll post the link down in the chat box for you to check it out. And if you go ahead and get a trial, what'll happen is it'll give you a link for an onboarding, and we can go ahead and give you a preview. You can go ahead and start using the website builder. But again, the only kicker is the custom templates that we're doing are not ready just yet. We're trying to get them done as quickly as possible because a lot of people are interested. So again, I think I don't know if I ever shared the actual survey or the waitlist link. So I'll share that as well. So if you're like, yeah, I don't want to go get an account right now, you can fill out this link. And so when it's time, you are sure to get notified. So that's in there as well. It's a Typeform link. You just go through that little area. If you have troubles with it, let me know. But that's really the best thing to do apart from just go ahead and getting a Choosy account, booking and onboarding. Adina says Pixie Sets is the worst for SEO in my opinion. Yeah, I tend to say, yeah, pretty much. Pixie Set tends to be the worst. Were you ever on Pixie Set, Brooke? Okay.
Yeah, I started on Squarespace when I first started, and I just kind of did it myself, and then I wanted to like up the ante, so I got Show It, and I did it myself too to start, and then I was like I needed like a true brand for when I went full time last year in May. So I mean I designed my own with the templates and everything, and then whenever I was ready to like go full force and like really make like a brand, oh wow, a brand for myself, that's when I got my girl to design everything for me.
Okay.
And amazing. I love Show It.
Yes. Good. Yeah. Show It's probably now is my second favorite, but I'm biased. Who am
I
I?
love, yeah, I love that there's like oh my goodness, there's like a little, like the question box in the bottom, and you can send them a message while you're doing stuff. Sometimes they have to get back to you later, I guess, like if it's like way late after hours. But I mean, I usually, if am having a technical problem, they can fix it like immediately. They
Well,
can tell me exactly what to do, or they can just do it themselves. And I
right.
love.
Yep, that's one of the things that as you all, if you're looking for a different platform, make sure that it's not just intuitive. Make sure the support is good because some website platforms, let's take Flow Themes for example, which is now basically they've all migrated over to Pixie Set. So Flow Themes, I don't even think you can get now. But this is a good example of a platform. It's inside of WordPress, so it's a plugin. Beautiful templates. But the problem is the support was not that great. And now the support is non-existent. So for people on Flow Themes, it's like, oops, sorry. And so you should be making sure that the platform that you get on is really good for the support side of things. Because if it's not, you're going to get left high and dry at times and you're going to get frustrated. And even if it's intuitive, it's tough. So I do recommend staying away from like your Pixie Set, your Pro Photo. Wix can rank on Google, but I think it's really tough to make it look nice. We have helped people rank on Pixie Set. We've helped them rank on Wix. We've helped them rank on Squarespace. But I just think that those are either intuitively not the greatest, their support's not the greatest, and or they're just not as good for SEO. And so it's not that you can't rank on those, but the moral of the story is try stuff, get in there and try the trials. And when you're doing the trial, make sure you try to use the support and see how you like it. Show It, I think, is pretty good. I just be careful, for instance, like if you ever switch domains. I had a nightmare whenever I switched domains. And so that's my only like support qualm about Show It. But I think all in all, out of Squarespace, the most popular ones, Squarespace, Pixie Set, Wix, Show It. I don't know. I think maybe WordPress, but I just don't like WordPress. I see people have tons of issues. It's too customizable in weird ways that you don't need. And then it's like not customizable in ways that you actually could use, in my strong opinion, based on experience. So I don't really recommend WordPress, although again, you can rank on all these. We've seen people rank page one with even Wix in the top 3 in competitive markets. Las Vegas, for example, we have a videographer that ranks top 3. They've been ranking top 3 for like 4 going on 5 years, and it works great for them, but it's just tough, especially in the design department. Let's see. Lisa says, I missed this first part of this live. What website company are you recommending? Yeah, so I'm doing shameless plugs because we're launching our own customized templates inside of our software, which is the software that we have designed is Choosy. So I will give you the link for that. The templates are not out yet. Okay. We're making sure that they're all nice and tied up. But if you do decide you want to do a trial, you can do that. And book like an onboarding, and we'll walk you through stuff even still. And then of course, whenever the templates come out, you'll be among some of the first to get it because you're already a member. And then the other cool thing is we've got SEO stuff inside of Choosy. We've got it actually can do a lot of automations. Okay. You can run ads directly, and you don't even have to get in Meta. You can run very effective ads. And we're also building out ad templates. So it's like a plug and play, which is super, super cool. But anyhow, that's coming down the pike. That stuff is all out. The only thing we don't have out yet is the templates, the custom templates that we're looking at just including in that. And then another preview, y'all don't tell anybody yet, but we're also looking at doing some like free SEO education, like some courses inside of Choosy. So if you are a member of Choosy, you'll actually get access to some of my free SEO education. And I say free, like it's not out there for everyone. I recorded a whole, basically an SEO 101 course that is unreleased. And we're going to be putting that inside of Choosy. And so we'll probably even have our team and maybe even me and some other like super successful photographers doing live streams and education that's exclusively in Choosy. So just saying, that's what I recommend. But other than that, again, my next favorite would be Show It. It would be Show It. I think that all in all, they're the best option out there compared to Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, Squarespace, etc. Squarespace has driven me nuts because now they're just terribly. It's so hard to design stuff, and it's hard, I think, to make it look good. Let's see. Uh, let's see. I'm looking through. Abby says I'm interested in the website, builder trial stuff. Yep. There's a few links, but I'll go ahead and comment on yours as well, just so you have it. And then I need to give you all the designer link. This link is actually to that free resource, the ebook, as we kind of come to our last few minutes here. So I'm going to put that in the chat box for you guys. This is a great resource, again, at no cost to you. And there's even like some links in there, like if you want to book a game plan call. This is a 15-minute call. It's at no cost to you. If you do that, typically it's going to go to my wife, Michelle, on Facebook. It's Michelle Lauren Armstrong. She will give you like a lot of good insight. And we do that as, sort of just a way to give back to the community. And so that is, if anybody's talked to, I don't know, did you talk to Michelle, Brooke?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I might have reached, I might have, it's like one of those things that popped up and it was like maybe it was an ad or something, but yeah, I did a 15-minute call with her and I was just like in the car I was in the car just like driving or something, talking to her, and then you and I talked like a few days later for like 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if sometimes Michelle goes a little bit long too, but she's super cool.
Yeah.
So that's in there. So it'll say designer because that's a tool that we use to actually design this. So again, this costs money on Amazon. You're free to do that, but you could also get it at no cost right here. A couple other, let's see, well, we may have time for like one or two more questions, but I think we pretty much covered everything. And I want to, I want, excuse me, I want Brooke to get, get some baby time in here. So I don't want to keep her too long. Um, let's see. I think we covered all the questions. Y'all let me know, and we can keep the conversation going after the live stream. But real quick, Brooke, for you, Instagram SEO. So I would be looking because you do have Instagram reels and stuff that you're doing. Some
Yeah.
trend that we've seen is actually that Instagram is Google has been now for probably about 3 months. They've been actually ranking Instagram profiles on the homepage. And so a lot of the same stuff that you've learned about keywords and
Mm-hmm.
backlinks and all that kind of stuff is also relevant for the Instagram SEO. And so, we haven't seen it done yet, but we really think that it's possible to rank both your Instagram as well as your website, both on page one of Google. And so you might be able to double dip that way. So imagine if you're showing up in photos, you're showing up on, the search results, your Instagram's showing up. I mean, it's like the ability to just maximize your traffic is absolutely crazy. So, I would say that'd be another thing that you may want to be looking into, poking around a bit on, because there's a lot of cool stuff that I think is going to become pretty transformational for people, especially if you can get both your homepage and your Instagram on there. So that being said, guys, like I said, you can totally keep asking questions. This will be inside the group. Okay. So that way you can keep asking questions. I hope you all will take a second to go ahead and give a big thank you to Brooke. Okay. Like, huge thank you. I'm so grateful that she took the time to be able to come and share with you guys. I hope you've been encouraged. So please go into the comments and let her know that you appreciate her. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that like button. So that way Facebook shows you all these notifications and, what you interact with, you'll get more of. So if you've gotten value here, let Brooke know. And then also hit that like or love button, if you're feeling generous. And you guys keep on keeping on, keep on pushing it in your business. Keep on dreaming, like Brooke has been in business for like 3 years, right, Brooke? Or is it now, what is it, 4 now? Or how long you been in business? Yeah, like 4 years. I know.
Three. They're
Yeah,
about
3. Okay.
three.
Yeah, 3 years. She's made it to, the first page of Google in the top 3 even. And so you guys don't write yourself off. Okay. Keep showing up here to the meetings. Check out the ebook for all our replay people. All the links will be up above this show. And I hope that you all keep on coming in Tuesdays, 5 o'clock p.m. so that we can keep on pouring into you. And I just like spending time with you guys. So that being said, what I'll do is we'll shut it down. Brooke, thank you so much. Thanks for jumping in. Quincy, thanks for jumping in. We really appreciate you. You've been awesome. And so look at that. Oh yeah, I think that was maybe that was a thank you or you're welcome. I don't know. Something in between.
She's having a blast. We're
I
having
love
a
it.
blast, aren't we? We're so glad we could be here.
Oh, me
Great.
too. And I'm just looking forward to seeing you grow even more and looking forward to seeing you rank in your new location as well.
Thank
And keep on heading towards that 100K, shooting just a few and spending as much time you can with that beautiful family of yours.
Yep,
So thanks for being a part of this community, Brooke, and I
absolutely.
appreciate you so much. Guys, we'll see you next week. Until then, this has been Easy SEO Live. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.